7 out of game. Okay, so we're going to talk about Xul's talents. Well, I should just do a whole clip on it. Because I like Xul. And I think a lot of people misplay him. So you're playing Xul, you really want to play him on maps where there's 2 lanes that are next to each other that you can rotate between. Blackheart's Bay, Tomb of the Spider Queen, Infernal Shrines. Those are the obvious ones. The one that's kind of underrated a little bit is Sky Temple. You can actually rotate mid and bottom on Sky Temple pretty consistently, and the skeletons give you a lot of additional pressure. That's why occasionally in pro play, if anyone was curious, like Glaurung likes to run Xul on Sky Temple. That's the reason. It's because those 2 lanes are just close enough together. Dragonshire is another good example. You can do it on Towers of Doom, but you need to have your team rotate with you to protect you. And you need a little bit of help in the wave clear department. Just a little bit, not a lot.
I should have brought a shirt.
I think Shade got over-nerfed. Shade is still pretty good, but the cooldown is just ridiculous. Backlash gives you the ability to just kill people. I think Shackler is bad in 90% of cases. The only good use for Shackler I've ever found is if you're doing that dual soak thing by yourself, like on Blackheart's Bay. All 4 people on your team go bot, you're top. If you go Shackler, people who dive you, you immediately pop your bone armor. They dive you. They're slowed. You can actually walk away in some cases. Just like casually walk away. They're slowed. They can't. They already used their gap closers. They can't get to you. That is the only potential use for Shackler, and basically it means cheese, right? Because if you're cheesing with Xul in 2 lanes while the other 4 people of your team are all bot, and all you need to do is not die and soak safely, Shackler can help you do that a little tiny bit better than Shade or Backlash.
I should have brought a shirt.
Other than that, you never go Shackler. Like if you're I think you're ever gonna team fight when you're not 3 levels ahead, you don't go Shackler. Death's Reach helps with poke and goaltending a little bit. I actually think Jailers is a bad talent you should never take. I think it's that terrible. You should just never go Jailers. Tregul's Essence gives you infinite sustain on the map with mana. You'll never run out of mana with Tregul's Essence if you're picking up the globes for each wave. The combination of the 2. So if you're doing that double soak thing, you should always go Tregul's. Same thing for Rathmas. If you go double soak and you're going Rathmas, you never have to back because you can just always go to a wave and heal yourself. Like tap plus globes plus wave clear, all it takes. Weaken's a situational pick, I would say, versus like an Illidan. If you don't have any of their attack speed slows, Illidan dives in, you root him. He's forced to attack you to try and sustain. You pop W, and he's slowed by 75%. Problem with Weaken is you already have attack speed slow built into your W. It's not improving it that much, right? Harvest Vitality is a talent you should just never take unless you're rotating with a Brightwing. So if you're rotating with a Brightwing, and Brightwing is your sole support on your team, you're already going to be at full health all the time, so Rathmas doesn't really give you anything. Harvest Vitality gives you in-fight healing that you're not otherwise going to have because Brightwing can't necessarily stand next to you in the middle of a team fight. So there's certain supports, Brightwing's the top of the list, where Harvest Vitality is a little bit better than Rathmas if you're always with your support. But if you're double soaking on like Blackheart's Bay and your team's not there, never take this. It's only when you have certain supports and you're rotating as 4. So very, very niche. If they don't have any burst healers or don't have any area of effect healers, like Poison Nova is really good against Morales. They have a lot of area. If they have a lot of melee, Poison Nova is really good. I think Skeletal Mages is just the better of the 2 on average, but there's certain situations where Poison Nova is better. Decrepit Fly, the slow is actually really, really helpful if you're a melee hero with no mobility. If everyone on their team has some kind of mobility, you're never going to catch up to them, and you're never going to get away from them, right? Decrepit Fly gives you something that allows you to get away from them or catch up to them as needed. It's a nice little bonus. Corpse Explosion is just bad. It was nerfed, and all of the talents associated with skeletons, his like baseline skeletons got nerfed. It's just not worth taking. Giant's Curse, pretty good. Giant's Curse is an additional 2% of maximum health as damage to heroes. If you get 3 or 4 heroes in your Giant's strikes, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Flowing Wounds. I think this talent should only be taken if you're planning on going Mortal Wound at 20. We'll talk about that when we get to Mortal Wound. But if you're going Mortal Wound at 20, I encourage you to take Flowing Wounds. Executioner's not that good. Executioner's not good anymore. When it worked on everything, Executioner was actually really good because what you could do is you could go Decrepify and then take Executioner, and you could actually clear camps efficiently, which is something that Xul just shouldn't ever be doing under normal circumstances. But with the nerfed Executioner that it only applies to heroes, it's not ever really better than Amplify Damage. So if you want to go for a damage talent at 16, take Amplify Damage, never take Executioner. Go Flowing Wounds if you're going to go Mortal Wounds, don't ever take Skeleton Mastery. So there's actually not a lot of choices at 16 for Xul, unfortunately. Call of the Grave is a strict trap. Even if you're up against a Cho'Gall, the 1% additional damage is not more damage than Bone Spear, which is on a 10-second cooldown and also has added utility. Like, this is a crazy good talent. Raise Mage is fun and gimmicky and not better than Bone Spear, which is on a 10-second cooldown and has a lot of utility. The only reason you don't go Bone Spear at this level is if you went Mortal Wound. Mortal Wound is really good against burst healers. So Rhaegar, Morales in some cases, like you're just limiting her healing. Don't take it against healers who heal over time, but against like Brightwing, really, really good healer, because her healing's not over time, even though it's staggered. It doesn't say this in the tooltip, but they changed Mortal Wound several patches back to be less effective against regeneration effects, and healing over time counts. So certain healers you go Mortal Wound, otherwise you just go Bone Spear plus Flame Wounds. Xul's talent tree is pretty simple. He has one really, really good build, and then some situational talents. Alright, that's gonna be the last one though. I'm gonna